Hello everybody, I'm Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
Every week we discuss and review a new book, movie, album, TV show, or honestly any piece of art or culture that ourselves and you guys choose. This is Mind Control.
Exactly, dude, and I can totally see how that happened, because, like, imagine if you were just given acid or just drugs like that that are so disorienting for hours and hours on end and never being able to come down and not feeling safe and having somebody tell you things and accuse you of things, you know? Yeah.
Mind control, that's how we do it, baby. GG's.
Mind control.
On this episode of Mind Control, we're going to be discussing the classic horror movie, The Exorcist. And on the next episode of Mind Control, we're going to be discussing the Brian C. Murarescu book, The Immortality Key, The Secret History of the Religion with No Name, with the foreword by Graham Hancock. The Exorcist is a 1973 horror movie directed by William Friedkin, based on the 1971 novel of the same name by William Peter Blatty, who also produced and wrote the movie. The film stars Ellen Burstyn, Max von Sydow, Lee J. Cobb, Kitty Wynn, Jack McGowan, Jason Miller, and Linda Blair. It is one of 5 movies in a series and follows the demonic possession of a 12-year-old girl and her mother's attempt to rescue her through an exorcism conducted by 2 priests. It is commonly referred to as the scariest movie of all time. This is The Exorcist. Let me start the movie. What's up, everybody? Hello.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome back.
I'm Mikey.
Welcome back to Mind Control. You know what I mean?
I know
Mikey.
it feels like it's been a while, just because. I mean, it hasn't been, but it feels like it's been a while. It hasn't really been.
It's just been a week.
Yeah, because Midsommar came out last week, but I guess we recorded it like the week before, so it feels like it's been a long time.
That's what it is.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, what's up, everybody? This welcome to Mind Control.
Yes, hello. This
episode 9. Yeah,
episode 9. I wonder. Whoa, that's like upside down times 3 is 666. Oh shit, bro. Look, I got the Mind Control shirt.
Oh, that's dope. I just noticed it. Yeah, I like it.
I bought it a couple weeks ago. I'm like, that reminds me of Mind Control.
What are those kids sipping on? Lean? They got those
styrofoam. I don't know. They sip. It looks like. Oh, I never noticed that. Yeah.
That kid's got the Sprite.
They vibe. Oh shit! Yeah, I had to pick it up. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Hi. This is the conclusion to our Halloween marathon of horror films.
That's true.
It is. It is the climax. So happy Halloween to everybody. This is actually going to be coming out like just a day or a couple of days before Halloween. So yeah, we did. What did we do? We did Hereditary, Midsommar, and The Exorcist, right?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty cool. There's a few other ones.
Yeah.
There. Have you ever seen As Above, So Below, or heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It's like Cloverfield type shit, like Blair Witch, where it's like shot from a camera, but like they go in like into caves and they I guess reach like the gates of hell or some crazy shit. But it looks fucking terrifying. I was thinking maybe we could do that, but another time. It would be good though. It looks like it'd be cool.
It sounds like a Christmas movie, bro.
Compared to The Exorcist. Bro. All right. So The Exorcist, bro. You said you'd only seen it one time, right? Or that you could.
Yeah, it was a while ago too. So it had been definitely a long time. And then because I told you how I hadn't been smoking. So that night we went. I think it was a Dodger game or something. So we went, and originally I was just gonna watch the movie, but then we went to our friends to watch it for a little bit. So I had a couple drinks, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna smoke before we watch it. So then we came home and we smoked, and it was like the first time I had smoked in like 2 weeks. So I was pretty high during it. But dude, the movie was really really good. There was one part that had me fucking busting up though. Yeah. But the movie though overall though was like really good. Like I liked the way it was very it was directed really well too. Like the shots and everything. I feel like we talked about that with Midsommar and stuff. Like I noticed that a lot with this. I was like, oh man, the shots in this movie are really done well. Like and then I feel like the music and the background noises were amazing. Like I feel like they really take the movie to like a different, like, you know, they bring that vibe in before it even starts, like almost like Hereditary, where you already had that horror vibe before it even really gets into anything scary, you know, especially when he's like in where he's in Iraq in the beginning.
Yeah, that's similar to Midsommar, how like the opening shots provided like this kind of feeling and this theme, but that kind of really didn't go with the rest of the movie. Was filmed in a city, in a room, in a house, and hospitals. But then they show this entire opening sequence in Iraq, digging with different languages. I like that aspect too. Yeah, very similar.
Yeah,
to
no, I
Midsommar.
like how it opened. But no, the movie though overall I thought was great, and like it really like stands the test of time, you know, because even though it was made in like the 60s, right, or late 60s,
it was in the late 70s or 1973. 1973.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like even though it was made then, like it stands up. It's still pretty good, and like it has its scary moments. Like Frankie was a lot more scared than I was, but it was like a great movie, like, you know. And the girl, the one who plays Reagan, why can't I think of her name?
Linda Blair.
Linda Blair, like she's really good, you know, as this
she was
crazy
really
as
good.
devil. And I like the shit she says to the priest when she gets all crazy.
Which time she says a lot of shit. She says a bunch of crazy
like, your mother
shit.
sucks cocks in hell. Like, yes. But dude, you know, I will say one thing. I mean, I know we're gonna get into it, but because I've seen Scary Movie a lot, you know, and so, you know, I feel like I knew some of the parts because of the beginning of Scary Movie 2. But like I got confused because I was talking to somebody about it before I watched it, and they were talking about like, oh, I don't really like to watch it, especially like the masturbation scene. And I was thinking about Scary Movie, so I was thinking, oh yeah, I remember that. Like she masturbates with the cross. But then when I watched the movie, I was like, this ain't masturbation. I was like, this bitch is stabbing herself in the pussy with a cross. You know, because in Scary Movie, they obviously make it funny, like she's actually masturbating. But when I watched the movie, I was like, oh shit, this shit is kind of hard to watch.
She's
you know?
screaming, let Jesus fuck you too, right? Let Jesus fuck you.
And then she's like bleeding and shit. And I was like, dude, this shit it was probably pretty shocking in the movies, you know?
Bro, I watched, there were certain parts where I told me, because I know the movie well. So I've watched the movie a lot growing up. When I was younger, it was like something, I remember when it came out. I remember like, well, I mean, I don't remember when it came out, obviously, but I remember like growing up. I think it was I do. I remember when it was re-released. I think in 2001. I should know that.
Yeah, because they did like what was it, like a director's cut or something?
It was a director's cut, and it had extra scenes that weren't in the movie before, like the one where she went down the stairs.
Where she's backwards.
Yeah, there's a lot more like subliminal messages and like little shocking parts that were like not like gory type parts that weren't in the original one. Well, that's what I wanted to ask. Do you know which one you saw? Did you see the original one?
No. So I think when the first time I saw it, I saw the one where she goes down the stairs a long time ago because I remember that scene. But when I watched it this time, that wasn't the one I watched.
Good.
It didn't have that scene in it. Yeah.
I would say
so. I just watched the regular one
because honestly, I watched. I know both. I've watched this movie like fucking at least 15 times, like growing up or whatever, and it used to scare the shit out of me. Like it was like so scary and so fucked up that it was. And plus, I grew up religious, and it was like a crazy ass fucking movie. But I remember the scenes that they added and people talking about it. I remember it being like a pretty a pretty big deal. But watching it again and knowing the difference between what was added and shit, those scenes, I think those scenes were taken out for a good reason. I think it kind of takes away from the pace of the movie a little bit. Like the going down, it's like she goes down upside down and it has blood coming out of her mouth, and kind of even before the exorcism even starts. And I think the pacing of it is a little bit fucked up because of it. But either way, I honestly was looking for the original version to watch the second time that I watched it, but I couldn't find it. But I would say that the extra added shit was taken out for, I would say, a good reason for the most part.
I feel like normally that is like the case, you know, like with director's cuts, like they take it out for like the pacing. But no, dude, I thought it was a really good movie actually, you know, and I thought Father. Okay, it's Father Karras and Father who's the old dude? Father
hold on, I have that right here. What the fuck? It's like, God damn it, I have it somewhere.
Yeah, I think I have it written down too. Let me see.
Hold on, let me just pull it up. Their names are weird. Their names are hard. You're talking about the older one though, right? Not the Rocky looking dude, not Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's Karis.
Yeah,
Karis, and then what the fuck's his
Lancaster Marin, Father Marin.
All right, Father Marin, I thought was badass. Like, I love
Hell
when
yeah.
he comes in and she's talking shit, and he's like, "Silence, beast," and I was like, "Yeah, tell that bitch."
I think
Like, he didn't play no games.
It's Scary Movie. I think he says, "Shut up, bitch."
And you know, like Karis was pissing me off. I was like, "Bro, like, you really fucking up. Like, how many times Father Marin's got to tell you something before you do it? Like, you know, like, he fucks up a lot. You know."
Yeah, until he kind of saves the day in the end, though, kind of low key, like he's like the savior.
Yeah, when he beats the shit out of her and he's like punching her and shit. And I was like, oh damn,
it's so funny because growing up, I never really saw that he was a boxer and he was like this young man and like he was struggling and trying to take care of his mom. Like there's such a deep story there about him, you know, that I never noticed, which is wild.
Yeah, and I really like that the movie doesn't just deal with the exorcism and like the devil, like it deals with like his loss of faith too, you know, which I feel like is a big part of it, you know.
That's what
why like the exorcism is harder than it should. Like for him, like Father Marin needs his help, but because his faith is like shaken and not fully there, like he's not able to provide that help really. But dude, there were some parts that me and Frank, like I was tripping out on that, like when he's trying to prove that she's a demon and or that there is a devil inside of her and he has to like find proof, like he's still kind of iffy about it even at certain parts, and I'm like, bro, how are you still iffy? Like if I seen somebody doing this, I'd be like, nah, I'm out. As I told Frankie, I was like, I've seen other exorcism movies, and I was like, and if Paul acted like that, I was like, I'd be down to stick it out, see what was happening. I was like, but if I walked upstairs and Paul was stabbing himself with a crucifix and beating the shit out of us, I was like, I might have to be out, you know? Like, call the priest and let me know what happens. Yeah, you know? Because, like, dude, that's what I liked about it, too. Like, her, just because I think I told you I watched The Last Exorcism recently and The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I watched these before this, like, a couple weeks ago. And, like, in those movies, like, it's much more subtle. Like, it comes on. And like even when the devil's in them, like they're pretty crazy. But I feel like this one, especially for the time, and then even like compared to those other ones that came out later, like she's full on crazy ass, crazy shit, you know.
And I think that has to do with the times too, because I'll say when I remember growing up as a little younger, like I was maybe like 10 or 12 already. And when it came out and me and my aunts and my brothers and sisters watched it at my grandma's house, and we were young. All of us watched it alone, and all the grown-ups left, and we watched it alone in the dark. And I don't know if it was just a group mentality or it was just us being young, but I mean, you know, or us being raised in a different time. But the entire time we were watching it as kids, we were laughing. We were laughing the whole time. But I think it had to do with just the fact that we were trying to not be scared in those moments.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's mostly what it was. But at the same time, there is a little bit of something there because even Victoria was like, I think maybe the joke she was making was like trying to not be scared too, but there is definitely a desensitization. I don't know. That's the wrong way.
Yeah, no, I think that's the right word. Yeah.
Desensitizing, culture now where that type of shit up front is not as scary as things that are lurking in the dark. What's not seen is scarier than what is seen because we're so fucking used to all this crazy special effects and things like that. That's why this movie worked so well back then. And even till now, it's known as the scariest movie of all time because it was such a monumental moment. And I go into that too. I have a lot of notes on that and stuff like that. But, yeah.
I that actually makes a lot of sense because you do see a lot more movies now. I mean, there are still obviously a shit because there's so many horror movies.
Yeah,
there's still a shitload that are like shock value, but like now I feel like so many things have been done shockingly that it is hard to find that same shock value. That it's easier to make not easier, I'd say, but it's a more appealing scary movie, like you said, when it's not right in front of you. And it's not jumping out. I mean, but maybe that also comes with our age. We're older, so it's like for us, it's not like
That's
I don't
true.
want to see fucking just a bunch of blood and shit. Like I'd rather have something that like Hereditary when she's just in the corner of the room. Like that shit is much more scary because you don't notice at first, and then at a point when you do, you're kind of like, wait, how long has she fucking been there? Like, how long did it take me to even notice that she was there? But dude, but even so, I feel like this movie though does stand up really well. Like I liked it a lot. You know, I thought it was a great movie.
I think that
all the acting's really good. It was a good movie.
I think that goes to a lot of, like you said, the directing, and the director was fucking crazy, dude. There's like, he was like shooting guns and fucking crazy shit on set. I read
about that. Yeah. And I read like when he got his face thrown up in that he actually told him it was going to be on the chest, but then he surprised him by doing it in his face. Dude, directors in general, like, I don't know if you ever read about Stanley Kubrick. Like, dude, he would do shit too. Like he, like on The Shining, that's what he did. That girl from The Shining, the main girl, never really made a movie after that movie because he fucked with her so much. He didn't allow the cast to talk to her. He would make her do scenes, like easy scenes, like they said, upwards like of 80, 100 times, even though he already had the shot, just because he was trying to mentally like make her feel isolated from everybody else. And she actually gave interviews later where she said she had a lot of problems because of him, because he was so fucked up to her on set. And then Jack Nicholson was so in character that he just wasn't talking to her in the first place. So she just said she just felt completely alone. And Stanley Kubrick like forbid everybody from being there for her or helping her, because in the movie she is supposed to be isolated. I was like, damn, dude, like directors are fucked up, dude. Like, so, especially back in the day, like they did some shit to get like these acting parts out of these characters, you know, or actors.
Oh yeah, I love it.
No, me too.
I love the history of it. I kind of respect it. And what's crazy though is that if you talk to the actors and actresses who are involved in these type of projects, for the most part, statistically speaking, I bet that they would be okay with all the shit they had to get put through because of the final product was, you know, so well done. If you talk to what's her name, Uma Thurman, like she doesn't fuck with Quentin Tarantino, but she don't talk shit about him, even though he beat the fuck out of her, broke her, almost killed her in that damn car accident type shit.
Yeah, she doesn't. In her face
she doesn't really talk like how you would talk about something. I think that she has a level of respect for him because of the movie. And even the shit with Harvey Weinstein, low key, I know this is probably speaking out of turn, but I would say that there is more women who suck that man's dick and aren't talking about it because they are okay with what they got out of it than there are women who were like, damn, I shouldn't have sucked it. I didn't want to suck his dick. That's that. But you know, just saying, you don't hear fucking.
Look at my eyes, bro. Look at my eyes.
It's true. Yeah, dude.
No comment.
There's a joke by Joe Rogan, and he said that if his son, he said, if Harvey Weinstein wanted to fuck my daughter for a role, I'd be like, fuck that guy. I'd want to kill him, blah, blah, blah. But if Harvina Weinstein told my son that he had to eat her pussy to be Superman, I would tell my son, hey, you're going to be fucking Superman. And that there's a kind of different aspect. If it was, I feel like there is a different, like most men might, you know, fuck an ugly old lady for a part and not have any sort of, I don't know, what, maybe we're going into bad territory. Yeah, this is very scary. This is very scary stuff.
This is definitely Halloween. No, but
so I will stay unless you have something to say. Go ahead.
Nah. Go ahead.
Did you know that The Exorcist is based on a book?
Yeah, you know, I was actually kind of want to read it now.
And
but I saw that.
And did you know the book was based on a true story?
I read a little bit about that, but I didn't really read about the true story that it was based off of. Do you have anything about that?
I have a video taken from this True Hollywood Story documentary. It's about 2 minutes long. So I'm going to play it, but for this time, I won't be able to hear you, but I'm going to play it for you. If you can't hear it or anything, just tell me and I'll stop it. I should be able to get this going. Boom, boom. And then...
Back 24 years to a winter's day in 1949. The place, Cottage City, Maryland, a quiet community outside Washington, D.C. The victim, a 13-year-old schoolboy whose name was never revealed.
So this is telling the story of
boy's
what it's based
began
on.
Gradually with a series of strange, seemingly inexplicable occurrences.
The mother and father are out one night, and the grandmother and the boy hear sounds in the walls. It sounds like scratchings in the walls. When the mother and father come home, they tell them, and the father calls in a exterminator, thinking that it's rats in the walls or mice in the walls. Well, there isn't any rat and there isn't any mouse.
No one knew it at the time, but the bizarre event known as a possession was taking hold.
And then the boy is in bed one night. This is all happening rapidly over a short period of time. And he feels his bed starting to move. This is observed by the mother and father and the grandmother.
The parents of the young teenager made an emergency call to their Lutheran minister.
According to the pastor's testimony of this, he puts the boy on the floor on a mattress. The mattress moves. It goes and bangs into under the part of the bed. And the next morning, the pastor says, "This is beyond me." And he tells the father and mother, this is something Catholics understand. You've got to go to a priest.
The family took their minister's advice and contacted a Catholic priest at St. James Church in nearby Mount Rainier, Maryland. The priest took the report very seriously.
The priest then checks the boy into Georgetown University Hospital and confides in some people in the hospital as to what he's going to do. And he starts the exorcism. There are stories about what happens next. The boy, although he's strapped down, manages to reach under the bed, break off a piece of the inner spring, and slash the priest's arm. Priest screams. He has a cut on his arm that goes up to his elbow, and he ends the exorcism.
The boy's family became desperate.
They wound up relocating from the Washington, D.C. area to St. Louis, and at St. Louis University they were able to make contact with a Jesuit.
His superiors sent him to the Archbishop of St. Louis, who is very reluctant to engage in exorcism. But he does, with reluctance, okay the exorcism. It's very simple. It's just a series of prayers, at that time said in Latin, and it's repetitious. It really just says, I'm the priest, I'm representing Jesus Christ, and in the name of Jesus Christ, I'm telling you to get out of that victim. And then it's supposed to happen. It doesn't happen.
There were apparently horrific demonic fireworks, terrific demonic grotesquerie, howlings from beyond the grave, carvings on the boy's flesh, spinning heads, terrible, terrible, disturbing, frightening, grotesque phenomena. All of this stuff was faithfully recorded in a diary that these Jesuit priest exorcists took.
And this goes on for a total of about 6 weeks. On Easter itself, the boy is more violent than he had been in a long time.
With no hope in sight, the boy's parents almost gave up.
On the Monday after Easter, there is the sound of an explosion. Everyone says it sounded like a gunshot. And everyone who hears it senses that it has to do with the boy in the room. And when they go into the room, a boy is sitting up in bed, with a big smile on his face. And he says, it's gone. And it was all over.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, do you buy that shit?
So, what year is that supposed to have happened in?
The year that was supposed to have happened in was... I had that right here somewhere. I think it's like 19... Hold on. The Exorcism of Roland Doe. That was the name. It was in the late 1940s, is what it says.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know, dude. You know,
mid 1949.
Okay, so I'm I'm always like a skeptical person, but at the same time,
I don't buy that shit at all, bro.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Especially like at a time like that, I feel like maybe there was actually something else wrong with a kid, like maybe schizophrenia and something like that. And at that time, I feel like they didn't know shit about a lot of that stuff. I mean, they still don't know shit about a lot of that stuff, So
everything was so fantasized back then. He could have just been a pissed off little boy throwing a temper tantrum. So I'm going to read these little excerpts. There's actually books that were written trying to what's the word?
Like
debunk this story being a true story. So I have a few paragraphs here that I'm gonna read that go into what this author thinks happened and what he was able to prove didn't happen and stuff like that. So it's just an interesting part. I'll try to read through it. In his 1993 book, Possessed, The True Story of an Exorcism, author Thomas B. Allen offered the consensus of today's experts that Robbie, who was the boy who's supposed to be possessed, was just a deeply disturbed boy and there was nothing supernatural about him. There was another author, Mark Opsosnik. It says, question many of the supernatural claims associated with the story, proposing that Roland Doe was simply a spoiled, disturbed bully who threw deliberate tantrums to get attention or to get out of school. Opsosnik reports that the boy who was present one of the priests who was present at the exorcism never heard the boy's voice change, and he thought the boy merely mimicked Latin words he heard him say rather than gaining a sudden ability to speak Latin. He reported that when marks were found on the boy's body, the priest failed to check the boy's fingernails to see if he had made the marks himself. He questioned the story of his attempts to exorcise the boy and his subsequent injury. He says he don't even think he was truly injured. And according to what this guy says, he thinks that the priest who wrote all this shit down was bullshitting. He deserved a few things right here. This is what he was able to prove. During his investigation, he discovered the exorcism did not take place at the actual home that it was supposedly at. He never lived in the city it was supposedly at. The entire city and state were wrong. It actually happened in Cottage City and not Mount Rainier, Maryland. Much of the commonly accepted information about the story is based on hearsay. There's not documented and was never fact checked. It's just that one priest, I think, wrote something. There's no evidence about the father going to his house. There's no evidence of him going to the hospital. And basically, it just seems to all be bullshit. There's like a few more paragraphs, but that's basically the gist of it, that he kind of proved that the kid was just a little douchebag.
Yeah, I could see that, dude. Mm-hmm. You know, that, I mean, like you hear about that. Like there are kids who are fucking crazy.
And what's wild about it is that there was multiple newspapers that wrote about it. And that's what got the author who wrote the original book, The Exorcist. His name is William Peter Blatty. People call him Bill Blatty or Blady. I'm not too sure. But he's the one who wrote it. And he actually rewrote his own article or something about, he was like a journalist back then, and he wrote about what was being claimed, but he saved a lot of newspaper clippings at the time that it actually happened. And then he ended up writing a book about it. And then the book became The Exorcist. So the movie was directed by William Friedkin, but it was actually produced and written by the same guy who wrote the book.
The book?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's pretty cool.
Interesting, yeah.
Did the actual church ever say anything about that? Because, you know, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's true too, because I don't know. I guess I've only seen this in multiple movies, but like in all the movies where they do the exorcisms, like they have to get approval from the church.
Yeah.
So like, is there anything from the church, or did the church never really issue anything? Because, you know, like, what proof did he give them? You know, that
I think,
you know, like in The Exorcist, he has to record it and he has to actually show them that they're speaking tongues and like doing all that shit.
I think that the only evidence that was actually written down was by the father who did it, Father Halloran. And I think other than that, it was all just hearsay bullshit.
Yeah, it sounds like something the Catholic Church would do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's funny, when we were younger, my dad told me that he was going to perform an exorcism. And this was around when the movie was coming out. And I always asked him about it. I always asked him about it after, and he never like went into detail. But I'm pretty sure he just said that shit, and he was just bullshitting. He's probably going to get some beer or some shit. Who knows?
That's crazy. What you know what's interesting? I mean, because like, I wonder. I mean, it probably didn't happen. But did you ever watch that last Exorcist movie? The one that I brought you, the one that I told you about, the last exorcism, where it's like his faith is shaken and he's trying to prove that the exorcisms don't really happen and that nobody actually is actually possessed. That it's just bullshit.
I have seen
because
that.
People think it works. Yeah,
I have seen that. I remember when it came out, I watched it.
Yeah, in that movie, he does like shit like that, where he actually like goes into the room first, and it's like, oh, I need to bless the room before we start, and then he like sets up little rope pulleys so he can make the bed shake, and he sets up a little tape recorder so it sounds like their noises, so then like the people involved, like the parents and everybody in the room makes it seem like
I
shit, this
remember
is actually happening. And then like because for him it was like, oh, they just need to believe that I'm actually exercising them, and then they feel better, which I think they talk about in The Exorcist too, with the doctors. They're like, well, it's more of a belief. Like if you believe it's happening, sometimes people will get better. Yeah, which is me and Frankie were talking about it, because obviously I think that most of it is bullshit, but like in the movie, when you watch it, like when the doctors are telling them, like trying to come up with excuses, like from my point of view, I was watching, I was like, these doctors are assholes. Like look at what's happening to this girl. Like, I'd be pissed if I was the mom. Yeah. But then I was thinking, I was like, yeah, but I guess if you went to medical school and you were a doctor, like this would be the last thing you would ever want to believe. Like you would kind of just straight out refuse to believe it. And it's like, I don't know though. I mean, I don't know if it could happen, because I don't really believe in the devil or anything like that. But it's
so it's so interesting is that all of a sudden, around the time that video cameras became a thing, around the time in the late 1900s when we were able to take pictures and there was more people and we were able to share information more, all of a sudden, all this crazy shit that people thought was real just started to not become real. Exorcisms and fucking mermaids and goddamn unicorns and maybe those are weird examples, but you know what I'm saying, like Bigfoot and all these urban legends and things that people probably legitimately thought 100 years ago were real, 200 years ago maybe, if that. It's just now all of a sudden they're just not real and we can't find any evidence of it. It just shows how vulnerable and human beings are, and how easily like mushy our brains can be, and we just believe. Yeah,
like how easily like we could just be deceived. And it's interesting too to think that like 100 years ago, or like you were saying, like a lot of the monsters people were scared of were these fake demons, devils. But now with like cameras and like more information, I feel like, at least for me, I mean, I'm an adult too. It's pivoted. It's like, dude, like all this supernatural shit's not that scary. I was like, look at like the actual fucking people who run everything, and these people with tons of money and who like traffic little kids and shit like that. I was like, that shit is scary. And it's like, even with all this information, we still don't get a lot on that. I don't know if you saw the other day. I mean, this is totally off topic, but literally like 2 days ago, they did a big ass bust, and I forget what state it was. And it was like one of the biggest trafficking busts they've done in a while. And there was like nothing on the news about it. Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, like, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
crazy.
It's like we're scared of these supernatural monsters when there's actually fucking real life human monsters who are pieces of shit that I've always be scared about.
I've always said that the scariest movies I've ever seen are always like serial killer movies.
Oh, dude, Silence of the Lambs, I think, is the scariest movie I've ever seen. Because when I saw it when I was younger, that Buffalo Bill, it freaked me the fuck out. I was like, what if I end up in that hole, bro? Like, shit, and putting the lotion on my skin, Yep.
That's that. You think that's some, I wonder. I don't know. I try to twist everything into like some like politically incorrect type of movie now. Any of those old movies, like, do you think that was a transphobic movie now? Because of Buffalo Bill?
I don't know. I think I could be wrong, because sometimes I just speak bullshit. But I think Buffalo Bill though was based off of like an actual killer. Who cut off people's skins, like Leatherface. I think it might have been based off that same guy, that guy Ed Gein, the one who killed his mom, and then
Ed Kemp. I think it was Ed Kemper or something like that he might have been based off of too, who was a real serial killer. And I'm pretty sure he might have been based off of him. I could be totally wrong, but
dude, that movie is actually a really good movie too.
We should do that. We should do that one, and then Hannibal and Red Dragon, all three of them, and just do one episode on movie fire.
Yeah, dude. I don't remember liking Hannibal as much, but Red Dragon is great.
I never seen Hannibal. I don't think. I don't remember finishing it. But.
Hey, after we do the Red Dragon podcast, we get the tattoo he has on his back, both of us. We'll go get them together.
Eat a big old painting.
We just got to work out so our backs get built.
Oh, shit. All right. So I have a bunch of notes here written down about the production and the casting and the filming and all that. So it's a lot of interesting shit here. So the film's lead roles, particularly Reagan, were not easily cast, although many named stars of the era were considered for the role. Blatty, who's the one who originally wrote the book, and Friedkin, who was the director, ultimately went with less well-known actors, which the studio did not want. This is wild right here, dude. The studio wanted Marlon Brando for the role of Lancaster Marin or Father Marin.
I saw that.
That's fucking crazy, dude. That would be wild.
Wasn't it the didn't the dude who wrote it though? I could be wrong. Wasn't he the one who didn't want Marlon Brando? Because he thought it would turn into a Marlon Brando movie. You know?
Yeah, the director. Friedkin said that.
Oh, okay, the director was that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
Jack, it would have turned into more about him when it's really about Reagan.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. That makes sense. Which I think it could have done both. I think it does a good job of. It could. The writing was done so well, and the story arcs were done so well. There's no reason that it couldn't have been. You know, I understand that back then that's how they thought, that it was like there has to be one star. But I think in the Netflix era that there can be multiple stars of a TV show. Look at Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? Like, multiple story arcs. Sure. They could have had Marlon Brando as Marin, and then they could have had Jack Nicholson, who was up for the part of Karis. That would have. He was going to be it, but then I guess didn't work out.
Jack Nicholson would have been. He's the shit. He would have been dope in this.
Can you imagine fucking Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando in The Exorcist? That would have been. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what it would have been? Paul Newman, I guess, also wanted to portray Karis too. What else is there here? So Friedkin then spotted Jason Miller following a performance of Miller's play in New York and asked to talk to him. He originally went to talk to Miller solely about the lapsed Catholicism in the play as a background for the film. Since Miller had not read the novel, Friedkin left him a copy. So he just wanted to talk to him about his play and like his history with the Catholic Church, just to learn more for the film. And then he left him the book. And then the dude, Jason Miller, was like all into it and wanted to be a part of it because he was actually studied to be a priest for a couple years, and he was actually had history.
Who plays Karis?
Yeah, he's the one who plays Karis.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So he actually kind of has a similar background to Father Karis. Yeah, that's cool.
So 3 A-list actresses of the time were considered for Chris, which is the mother. Friedkin first approached Audrey Hepburn, who said she was willing to take the role, but only if the movie could be shot in Rome, since she had moved to Italy with her husband. Since that would have raised the cost of the movie considerably, as well as creating language barriers, he looked next to Anne Bancroft. She too was willing, but asked if production could be delayed 9 months, as she had just gotten pregnant. Again, Friedkin declined her request and said he could not wait that long. He also did not think the material was something that she would want to be working on while tending to a newborn, which might also make it more difficult for her to work. Jane Fonda was next on the list and turned down the film as a, quote, piece of capitalist rip-off bullshit. Jane Fonda seems like a badass bitch, bro.
She is a badass bitch, bro.
I don't really know much
about her. She was bomb, too, back in the day, too.
Everything I've ever read.
She's badass, though.
Yeah, it's like she's dope.
Yeah, she does cool shit.
So, Ellen Burstyn received the part after she phoned Friedkin and emphatically stated that she was destined to play Chris. Studio head Ted Ashley vigorously opposed casting her, not only telling Friedkin that he would do so over his dead body, but dramatizing that opposition by making Friedkin literally walk over him as he lay on the floor. A perfect example of a fucking spoiled piece of shit loser studio head who needed to probably get his fucking head punched. I would have just stepped on his face, bro. I hate studio executives. Anyways, then grabbing the director's leg and telling him he would come back from the dead if necessary to keep Friedkin from doing so. This is a grown man named Ted Ashley, who was a studio executive, laying on the ground and throwing a fit over an actress. Probably because
it seemed like they, at that time, and at least right before that, they thought like they fucking ran everything, just like with Wizard of Oz. It's like all the actors. It's like, what the fuck, dude? I know, dude. They seem like, honestly, dude, like when we went into the Wizard of Oz shit, like it's like, damn, like these studio executives were like worse than the mob and all that other shit, like because like there was nobody stopping them with these actors, like they just ran them,
I'd love to see
fucking ground.
I'd love to see some sort of documentary or a book that kind of goes into the actual bullshit that all these actresses and actors had to deal with.
I bet you it's hard because I bet you, dude. There's still people, and there's still shit that's going on.
I'm sure,
all this, and it's like I was talking to somebody at work the other day about like Hollywood and shit, and how like if it's not known about publicly. Like most of these actors, they don't give a fuck, you know. Like I told you about Kate Winslet, who I love, but when last year she said something about Roman Polanski, but when she was asked about it 5 years ago, even though everybody knew, she's like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it. He's a great director." But now because it's like, oh, it's the cool hip thing to do to be, you know, a good person. Now all of a sudden, oh, I have regrets. Yeah. But it's like people asked you about that 5 years ago, and you knew what he did then.
Well, maybe it could be that they feel more comfortable because there's more people doing it, so that could be it too.
I don't know, dude. The way
that's devil advocate.
Some of the yeah, but I mean, it's just like with Harvey Weinstein, how there was like multiple jokes in multiple different shows about him. So it's like you guys all knew about it. Yeah. It's just like now it's the hip thing to put it. I mean, obviously he's an asshole, so. But I mean, now it's like the hip thing to out him, and it's like, yeah, if you were a good person, you would have done this a long time ago.
There's people who knew
at least never have been on his side to begin with. You know?
Yeah, there was people who knew about Bill Cosby for years and years and years. It was a well-known thing in the comedy community that he did what he did.
No, I know. I that fool is weird too, bro. That's why I love watching the Eddie Murphy even more when he talks shit about Bill Cosby. And then he does the Richard Pryor. He's like, tell Bill I said he could suck my dick. He's like, are they paying you? Are they laughing?
That's a classic one.
Just suck a dick and drink a cup. Yeah, nah, it's dude. Yeah, like fuck these fools, dude. And that's what's weird to me too. Like Bill Cosby and like Harvey Weinstein, who was like super like liberal, like gave to all these like good like funds. It's like, dude, it's like these people who parade around as good people end up being some of the worst. Like Bill Cosby, who paraded around as this great guy, was doing all this crazy shit. Yeah. Harvey Weinstein, who was giving to all these foundations and philanthropists and all this bullshit, was doing crazy shit. Yeah. It's like, I mean, I guess that's maybe how you hide it, you know?
I think what it really comes, like when it comes down to it, it's literally just how it's like almost like if you look at the human race as a single human's life, like we were so dumb and ignorant for so long as the human race and mean and evil. And now because we're learning and we're having more information and things are getting recorded, we're like forced to grow up now. And it's just like, and we're like looking back at how shitty of a person we used to be and getting mad at our past selves when we should be, especially, you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with all that, but it's like, you can't get stuck on that. You got to start focusing on the future as a human race, because if not, we're just going to get caught up and to confuse ourselves.
Oh yeah, that's the problem with right now. It's like it's cool to call people out on their bullshit, but like some people don't deserve second chances for sure. Like some people, like if you're fucking raping children, doing shit like that, like yeah, I don't think you deserve a second chance. But like, you know, some shit, like if you fuck up, some people do fuck up, you know, especially when you're really young. And it's like, if you were to look, like you said, dude, I hear stories from like my parents or even Frankie's parents of like things the kids they hung out with when they were younger did. I'm like, dude, you guys sound fucking, I mean, I thought we were bad, but I was like, you guys sound fucking terrible. Like, you know, like really bad shit. I'm like, dude, that's fucked up, you know? And like, there was no feeling behind it. So it didn't seem bad to them at the time, you know? And it's like, I don't know, dude. Yeah, it's like you said, it's stupid to have a cancel culture when it's just like it's honestly the same thing as prison. It's like, what's the point of prison if you don't expect anybody to get better? Then if you don't want them to get better, then wouldn't it just be better to fucking put people down then? But it's like you parade behind this, oh, we're getting better, but at the same time we're just canceling people and not giving anybody a chance, you know? And I'm not saying everybody deserves a chance, but like you said, like you can't just stick on the past. If you get stuck on the past, then nobody will ever become better, you know? Like, yeah, if you fucking rob a store when you're like 20 and you're just stuck on that your whole life, you're gonna just always be a piece of shit when you really just have to sometimes put shit behind you and just move past it, you know?
Gotta let it all go. Yeah, fuck yeah, man. That's something everybody needs to write down. Listening to this right here. Just let it go. All right.
Let it go.
There you go. So there's a few more paragraphs kind of talking about the casting. And so obviously that studio executive, Ted Ashley, didn't get his way. And Ellen Burstyn became the mother of Linda Blair in The Exorcist. So with her set in her part, Friedkin was surprised when Miller, who is the person who played Father, what's his name? Casson? Karras. He called him back. He said that he read the novel and told the director that guy is me. referring to Father Karras. Miller, he said he had a Catholic education and had studied to be a priest himself for 3 years at the Catholic University of America until experiencing a crisis of faith, just as Karras at the beginning of the story. Friedkin thanked him for his interest, but told Keach he had already been signed. Miller, who had done some stage acting but had never been in a film, asked to at least be given a screen test. After taking the train to Los Angeles, Friedkin had the playwright and Burstyn do the scene where Chris tells Karras she thinks Reagan might be possessed. Afterwards, he had Burstyn interview Miller about his life with the camera focusing on him from over her shoulder, and finally asked Miller to say Mass as if for the first time. Burstyn felt that Miller was too short for the part, unlike her boyfriend at the time, whom Friedkin had auditioned but passed on. Well, she actually tried to get her boyfriend to be the priest in the movie? That's kind of wild. Anyways, the director felt the test was promising, but after viewing the footage the next morning, realized Miller's dark, good looks, haunted eyes, quiet intensity, and low, compassionate voice, qualities which to him evoked John Garfield, were exactly what the part needed. The studio bought out Keach's contract, and he got the part. Yeah,
That's cool. I think
Pretty
he was
well.
a good Karras.
Yeah, he was. He was honestly, in my opinion, like obviously Linda Blair, which I'm gonna get into right now too, which is fucking awesome. But he did a really good part. He did really good, and so did Father Laren.
Marin.
Yeah. Fire. All right. So when it comes to Reagan or Linda Blair, the question of whether or not such a young actress, even a talented one, could carry the film on her shoulder was an issue from the beginning. Film directors considered for the project were skeptical. Mike Nichols had turned down the project specifically because he did not believe a 12-year-old girl capable of playing the part, as well as handling the likely psychological stress it would cause, could be found. After many different auditions and actresses who either turned down the role for moral reasons or were rejected, Eleanor Blaine came in unannounced to the director's New York office with her daughter, Linda. The agency representing Linda had not sent her for the part, but she had previously met with Warner Brothers Pictures casting department and then with Friedkin. Both mother and daughter impressed the director. Eleanor was not a typical stage mother, and Linda's credits were primarily in modeling. She was mainly interested in showing and riding horses around her Westport, Connecticut home. Smart but not precocious, cute but not beautiful, a normal, happy 12-year-old girl, Friedkin later recalled. And it goes this question right here, this next paragraph and a half, kind of like are dope and kind of show like how witty and cool Linda Blair was even at this young age.
All right, go.
With Linda having demonstrated the personal qualities Friedkin was looking for, he then went on to see whether she could handle the material. He asked if she knew what The Exorcist was about. She told him she had read the book. It's about a little girl who gets possessed by the devil and does a whole bunch of bad things. Friedkin then asked her what sort of bad things she meant. She pushes the man out of her bedroom window, and she hits her mother across the face, and she masturbates with a crucifix, she said. Friedkin then asked Linda if she knew what masturbation meant. She said, "It's like jerking off, isn't it?" and giggled a little bit. "Have you ever done that?" he asked. "Sure, haven't you?" she responded. She was quickly cast as Reagan after tests with Burstyn. Friedkin realized he needed to keep that level of spontaneity on set. So yeah. I guess that's kind of weird now that I read it. That you say that to a little girl.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of weird. It's like it started out normal, and then even him asking,
"Have you ever done that?"
What that is? Yeah, asking if you know what that is one thing, but then asking if you ever done that, and she's so young. And once you hit that question, I was like, "Where's this going, Mike?"
Well, I think 12 was like more like 15 back then, maybe even 16.
Oh no, yeah, dude,
That's probably why.
Especially, I mean, that's still gross, but
Still,
for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's a weird.
I guess this would be one of the only type of situations that I could see that question not being.
I don't know.
Perverted, like, because you need to know that just asking that question, determining on how she responds, is going to tell you a lot about if she's going to be able to play this part or not. And I don't think it's necessary. It's definitely wrong. Whatever. I'm not defending it, but I could see how it would almost be a necessity to ask.
It gives me there's something strange about the Johnsons beginning scene vibes. That question.
Dude, it's so funny. I listened to this podcast, Your Mom's House, with Tom Segura and Christina Pazinski, and they fucking talked about that movie. He's like, we watched this beautiful movie the other night, right before we're gonna make love, and I just decided, let's just watch the movie before. And then they watched it, and then they made love. And he was just talking about, it was a beautiful film about a beautiful, they were just joking, talking shit. And it was so, I got to show you the clip. And their reaction was so funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, so I didn't even realize how weird that would be. But it definitely at the very least shows, how
that she
witty
was
and
mature
clever.
and like,
smart.
she was ready for that role.
So she didn't even really do certain parts. Linda Blair, there were certain parts where they did like distort her voices, but there was another.
Oh yeah, I saw that
actress.
they like would record it and then like slow it down and shit.
Yeah, but there were certain parts where they felt like it was not gonna be like strong enough or like emphasize it enough. So they had this actress Mercedes McCambridge come in and do certain parts for the demonic voice, and there was a bunch of shit where they were making her smoke cigarettes and stay up and do all this crazy shit to have her voice as raspy and fucked up as it could be. And yeah,
she got hurt too, right, on the bed when it was shaking.
Eileen
Like
Eileen Dietz is the one who got hurt. She's the one. Mercedes McCambridge is the one who did the voice, but Eileen Dietz, I believe, is the one who did like the stunts and stuff.
Oh, okay. And she's the one who got hurt when it was like her real screams, right? When on the bed. 'Cause
Yeah.
she hurt her back or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Linda Blair too got fucked up. I think her
Yeah,
back
when she got
fucked up.
hit, right? Oh, her back got fucked up.
I think her back got fucked up because was it the scene? I think it was the scene where she was being rocked back and forth. I don't know if that was Linda Blair who did that or not, but one of them, got hurt with that.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah. She did. She stood in for Linda Blair during the crucifix scene and things like that. So this right here, this paragraph goes into detail about the different shit that he did during the filming and how fucking wild this dude was as a director. Friedkin went to extraordinary lengths manipulating the actors, reminiscent of the old Hollywood directing style, to get the genuine reactions he wanted. Yanked violently around in harnesses, both Blair and Burstyn suffered back injuries, and their painful screams were included in the film. Burstyn injured her back after landing on her coccyx when a stuntman jerked her around using a special effects cable during the scene when Reagan slaps her mother. Oh, so it was her mother who actually hurt her back, and Linda Blair. I thought it was the stunt.
Oh, look at there she goes right there on the screen.
Oh yeah. This right here I think the scene. This is like there was some sort of a barrier in her back that was lifting her up and down, back and forth to make it look.
Hey, this is the scene though. This is the scene when like the doctors are like still don't want to believe. I was like, how the fuck physically could she do that where she's jumping up in the air? You know? Like in the beginning when she's just going back and forth, yeah. But then at one point, like her whole body is shooting up in the air. And I was like, dude, how could you even do that? Like I couldn't even do that if I tried.
Glutes. Work on your glutes.
I like too how they test her to see if there's drugs, and I was like, oh yeah, like around the time maybe like LSD and shit. Like they were worried about that because you know
surprised
at that
that's not
time,
mentioned.
people had freakouts. Yeah, but I think that's what they're talking about when they talk about the other drugs. Like because I remember the doctors bring it up. Like, are you sure there's no other drugs in your house? You know, and I was thinking like, oh, and she says, oh no, I don't even smoke grass. You know, and I was like, yeah, maybe like they were talking about like LSD. You know, because at the time people would have their freakouts and bad trips and shit, you know, because I was like, that's the only thing that I could even think of that would make somebody act that way. You know, I don't want to say somebody's name, but we both seen somebody act that way.
It's true.
You know, crying and then laughing and then crazy shit.
That was a true possession that night.
That was a what?
That was a true possession that night.
Bro, that was I felt bad for you guys because you guys are tripping. I was sober and I was like scared.
Honestly, if I wasn't tripping, I think it might have been worse because I was like in my mind, I was like, I'm tripping. This girl's tripping. The reason I'm in this trip right now is to take care of her. And I guess
if you're tripping and you're feeling good, you're probably like, well, at least I'm not there. Like, no matter how fucked up I am, at least I'm not feeling like that. Like for me though, I was just like, dude, I felt bad. I was like, fuck, dude, I don't even know what to do. I was like, well, I didn't think this thing actually happened to people, you know? I thought the only people this happened to were people that were going to have like a freak out no matter what and like be schizophrenic after, you know? Not that it could just happen on a one-time thing. Like, I mean, you know, because like I've had bad trips, but that wasn't like a bad trip. Like that was like a... That was a
literally... that was a mental break. It was like a mental...
it was like a mental breakdown, yeah.
That was just from, I think, a way too high of a dosage of LSD and probably like bad health and things like that. But I don't know. Who the fuck knows? I don't know that bitch. That motherfucker's crazy. Jail probably. Anyways, so there's a few other things that I won't go into too much detail on, but there was a lot of subliminal messages in the movie that was like really controversial, especially back in the day.
So what else besides the face? I know about the face because
as far as exactly things, there's a lot of audio and things like that. There's shadows on the walls. There's a skull face superimposed into one of Father Merrin's clouds that he breathes. There's like a face in it.
Cool.
Yeah, so there was different things like that. I don't have anything like in particular, but for the most part, you can kind of see all of it. And it's kind of controversial because people think that it was done to be legitimate subliminal messaging, but the director, he said that he didn't do it to do. He said that's not what I did. It was just a way of telling the story. It was kind of like a play on subliminal messaging. He said if it was true subliminal messaging, you wouldn't know. That's not subliminal. So
yeah. I did read though that he had said though that before like the VHS version, like some people did miss some of it because of the way it was like recorded, and then until VHS came out and people could actually pause on certain scenes. I think that's why people thought too, like, oh, this is subliminal. Like I saw it, but they didn't see it. Like and because I did read that he said that it wasn't supposed to be subliminal messaging. We weren't trying to put it in. And honestly, I feel like I like that. Like, I feel like it adds to the horror. Like, dude, that fucking face that pops out.
That's the Pazuzu.
Scary.
That's the Pazuzu. Dude, they talk a lot about that in the sequel.
I heard the sequel is one of the worst movies ever made.
I heard that it's for sure one of the best, the worst horror movies of all time, for sure. Yeah. I heard the third one is possibly one of the best psychological horror movies of all time. So it's a crazy story. So there's 5 of them. There's 5 of them. The last Exorcist is part of the series, but the third one was a completely different movie called Legion, and it was completely redone. It was like almost completely shot, and then it was like all this crazy like studio shit where they're like, you know what? Let me take this movie and let's call it The Exorcist 3. And we're going to completely change. They changed the director and they basically reshot the entire movie after it was already almost done. But it's because it was its own thing and it had its own like story and plot, and it was never really supposed to be a sequel to The Exorcist. You can watch it kind of as its own film. And from what I read, there was like a lot of like people who say that it's a really, really good movie, and that plot wise and shit like that, it's really good. I didn't get into it all, but yeah, it's kind of wild. Yeah. There's a lot of history and shit that goes into the sequels and weird deaths and shit like that.
Yeah, there's shit like that on this too, right?
There was a few people who either had like family what was it exactly? I didn't get into all that because it kind of when I looked into it, it just seemed like some bullshit they were saying. Like there was like
I know the one dude who dies on the stairs, the director in the movie. He actually died 9 days after the movie came out or something like that.
It wasn't the original Exorcist.
It was in a completely different way though.
It was
the dude who plays the director who falls down the stairs. I forget his name. The one that's like her friend that she talks about, and then he doesn't fall down the stairs. I guess technically she pushed him out the window.
Oh yeah. In the movie, you mean?
Yeah. But then they said he died like 9 days after the release, which I was like, I don't know if that means it's cursed though. You know,
the guy who played it, but he died from a heart attack. That's what it was. He died from a heart attack, like a regular. Yeah. So it was like that's the thing is like the connections that were being made. It's like nobody would died so similarly to something that where I thought it was like worth looking into. Yeah. It's mostly in the sequels. There's a lot of things that would happen when they were filming the sequels that were kind of like weird. Like on set, there was the whole set burned down. I think during the filming of the first one, maybe. But there was a lot of weird shit, but I didn't.
Oh yeah. No, I read that the whole set burned down except for like Regan's room or something like that. Like everything else burned down. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I had looked in a little bit of the curse, and it didn't seem too much to me. So that's why I was wondering if you knew anything else. Yeah, because that's what I thought too. I was like, just because they died after the movie doesn't mean it wasn't like Wizard of Oz where they think they caught a actual actor hanging in the back.
Yeah,
of the movie,
exactly.
You know?
Nothing like that.
I was like, that's like whole different. Oh shit! Here she's backwards. And she run down the stairs. Shit, she went up.
See, it's weird. That's a weird part. Like then they just cut to black. Like it's just a weird pacing move. I think.
The face though, the
Pazuzu.
whatever. Yeah, the Pazuzu. That sounds like a Pazuki.
That's why.
But
That's what people say. That they talk about the demon as if the Pazuzu throughout the second one like a lot, and people are saying, how the fuck you can have a scary horror movie about a demon named Pazuzu? Like, what the fuck? Like, that's not scary. That sounds like a damn one of Barney's friends that come over to play.
the face though, I could be wrong. That's what's his name's face though, right? That's Karras's face in makeup.
Damn, I should know that. I feel like I should know that. I think it's somebody who's some like. Let me look it up. I feel like I know it's somebody. I don't know if it's Karras's face.
It kind of looks like him. That's why I thought maybe.
I think it's the actress actually. I think it's a girl who played.
Oh, you're right, Aileen Dietz. Who also plays.
She was the one who did the
Reagan. Her like stunts.
Her stunt double. Yeah, it was her face.
Oh, bro. So did you pick this? Is there anything else you have to say about production or anything like that?
Kind of, but not really. No, not production. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna bring up this, which I feel like will get us on a topic that I noticed, and I just found a picture of it right now, because I was like, oh shit, like I wonder if this has any connection. But you'll see it right now. But this is the part where they're hypnotizing Reagan to try to get the demon to talk.
Okay.
So I just posted the picture right now in here in Discord. It should pop up. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it. Let me hold on. Let me pull it up real quick.
Look at her hand. That's the Paimon thing. That's the same symbol as Paimon.
Paimon. Who's Paimon?
Bro. Oh, wait, hold up. You know Paimon, bro. You know Paimon. You said who's Paimon?
Oh, from Hereditary.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the boy doing it. Watch. When what's his name does it?
Oh yeah. Oh shit. When he does that crazy like thing.
Yeah, he does it when after he bangs his head on the desk.
And his fucking his head is all his nose is bleeding and shit.
Yeah, and then he puts his arm up like he's all possessed like that. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's like a common symbol. Because she does that when the demon starts talking at this part. Like she doesn't do it before. And then once the demon starts talking, her arm goes up too. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I mean, I know, I wonder if, I don't know. I guess it's a Paimon thing too, but I wonder if it's something that's common. Like
some sort of
like side demonology and shit. You know?
Yeah, like a hypnotic or some shit. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Like some sort of like a hypnotic
I just thought it was interesting.
Visual.
You know?
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's true. Paimon. Oh my god, don't make those connections, bro. Paimon and Pazuzu, who would win 1-on-1?
Pazuzu probably.
Damn, old school.
Paimon was pretty passive in that whole movie, you know? Everybody else was doing everything. Paimon was just trying to get out of the body and into his, you know?
He had a womanly body too, so right?
Yeah, and
probably not that strong. Like,
yeah. Probably not that strong.
So the theme song is which is awesome. I love the theme song. I actually
dude, it's amazing.
I forgot. I kind of forgot. Yeah, I kind of forgot.
Me too. Right when it came on, I was like, dude, I forget how iconic this fucking song is. Like, you know, even though I'd only seen the movie once before, I was like, I've heard this song millions of times, and you know what it is, you know.
So what it is a 1973. It's the beginning, like the first like song or part of the first track of the 1973 debut album by English progressive rock musician Mike Oldfield. It was not his album was not really a thing, and he wasn't even that big until they used his track from his album for the movie. And according to what I read is that he never really liked how it was used, but it made his album very popular and it made him popular, and he ended up. So it was actually, his album was released on May 25th, 1973, and it was the first album on Virgin Records. It's a mostly instrumental album, and actually I would be interested in listening to it.
I know I would actually be interested in listening to it just because if that's what it's from, you know, it's like, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Like I'd like to hear what the rest of it sounds like.
Yeah. Because it was the first album on Virgin Records, and because The Exorcist used it, people say that had a huge thing to do with the growth of Virgin Records.
Nice. That's cool. That's
Which
interesting.
is wild. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the reception of it and how fucking wild it must have been in 1973, in 74 whenever it came out, and how the reception of it was legitimately like bigger than the movie might have even been. The impact it had in culture and in film was huge. This was a movie with crazy fucking visuals and evil imagery, and people had never ever seen something like this. There's a few paragraphs here. I mean, I kind of would rather freeball it, but there's a few things I did want to mention. It had gone well over the budget and did not have any major stars in the lead roles, so Warner did not really think it was going to do that well. It didn't preview the film for critics, and it was booked in its initial release for only 30 screens in 24 theaters, which is and mostly in large cities. It grossed $1.9 million in its first week, setting house records in each theater. The huge crowds attracted to the film forced the studio to expand it into wide release very quickly. At the time, that releasing strategy was rarely used for anything, and it actually the way that people received The Exorcist is what led to big major motion pictures being released to huge amounts of theaters. It was like one of the first theater movies that they started learning how to release movies better.
That's crazy.
And then 2 years later, they released Jaws, and then they did it on 500 screens across the country.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's actually crazy. Because Exorcist too. Because even before I had seen the movie, and even when I had seen it a long time ago, but I had always known that, like, because I think my mom had told me or something that when it had come out that it was fucking like crazy. Like people were like flipping out over it. Like it reminded me of like when I read about Hereditary coming out and people were saying they got sick when they saw the head scene, and like people were walking out of the theater. And I feel like Exorcist, well, like you just said, is like the first movie to ever get that type of reaction out of a crowd where people are leaving the movie theater during the movie or feeling grossed out or sick about it. And I was like, that's fucking cool. That's
the beautiful part of this movie. Like, no matter what you say, anybody may say about the special effects or the time, or whatever the fuck, plot, writing, whatever, the aspect of the cultural change it had in the world, to me, is so fucking cool. Like, I think that's so cool, and why that even, go ahead.
Yeah, no, exactly. And to just like to be, because like that's part of the, I feel like it's kind of lost on most movies, like through time, and especially now, but like that whole of you going to a movie and seeing it with a crowd of people and getting these crazy reactions out of, because it's different when you're with the crowd. And I was reading this it was actually just the other day on Twitter, somebody had wrote like, what's the last movie that you saw, or the movie that you saw in theaters that got the craziest reaction out of a crowd? And I remember Seth Rogen brought up a good movie that I never thought of. He's like, honestly, nothing will ever compare to going to see the first Jackass movie at opening night with the full, because the whole crowd, just, you hear the reactions throughout the crowd constantly, And I remember seeing Jackass just like with us four, like Jackass 2, you're like, oh, like in the movies, like, and most movies you don't get that, or if you do get that, it's kind of annoying because like not everybody's on that same page, but it's like rare when you get a movie that everybody's on the same page. Like, did you ever see Mother?
Borat was like that. Mother,
yeah,
I did see Mother. I seen Mother, the fucking one with my girl,
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, J Law.
Yeah, where she got her titties out most.
Yeah, of the movie. I remember that one.
But dude, we saw that in the theater, and I remember that was the same reaction when the baby's neck breaks, when they're handing the baby and the baby's neck snaps.
Dude, I watched that movie once only.
That one, dude, you would love it. That movie.
I know, I love it. I do love it. I just barely remember.
The whole movie is the Bible, dude.
Yeah,
like that's what it is. Yeah, but when the baby's neck breaks in the movie theater, I remember everybody was just, and I was like, oh shit! Like, it was such a cool. It's kind of cool to be in a movie when it's that. I've been to movies.
It's an experience. It's a collective experience in the same way you go to a concert and you can listen to a song and you can enjoy it and you can watch a movie alone. But when you experience a song, when you experience a movie at the same time in a collective energy of a community, and you guys are all experiencing it at the same time, there's some sort of a beautiful worship type aspect to it that just goes beyond anything else.
And I feel like it's rare where you get that reaction from everybody in the crowd at the same time. Like you'll maybe get it from some people here, some people there, and I feel like that's kind of annoying when some people are that way and not everybody. But when you can do it across the board, everybody at once. It's like, oh shit! Like,
and it's
then that's like awesome.
And there's only two types of movies that you can truly get away with having the entire audience reacting the same way, and that's horror and comedy. And it's a very fine line between, nobody fucking with it, half of the people fucking with it, and everybody fucking with it. It's such a fine line, it's so fucking crazy.
That's cool that this was the first movie though that like led to these big releases. I never knew that,
Yeah. Think about it like this. Like, and I'll end with this as far as this thing, but like, think about like how important, and it's just a trip to me. Like, think about like you're in an entire group and watching a movie, and you're about to watch fucking Mother, or you're about to watch Borat or Jackass, but there's one douchebag in the middle of the room, and during the trailer he's talking and being loud, and he's drunk and obnoxious, and him and his vibe could almost legitimately throw off that entire energy of that entire community in that theater and could ruin the experience of that movie. It's just wild to me. That's kind of like the way YouTube comments work and shit. And like, you have one bad YouTube comment before like the comments start to grow. That one comment can grow and like kind of fester or just
influence others.
Yeah, like memes, like or just whatever. It's just I'm thinking too much. But so there's another cool aspect of the perception of it. None of the theaters were in African-American neighborhoods, such as South Central, since the studio did not expect black people to take much interest in the film. After the theater in predominantly white Westwood showing the film was overwhelmed with moviegoers from South Central, it was quickly booked into theaters in that neighborhood. African-American enthusiasm for The Exorcist has been credited with ending mainstream studio support for blaxploitation movies, since Hollywood realized that black audiences would flock to films that did not have content specifically geared to them. So The Exorcist ended racism in film. Low-key.
Yeah, the studio racism, I guess. Yeah.
Low-key. But no, that's when I read that.
I mean, in a way, though, you could say it ended racism, and in a way, you could say it furthered the idea that we don't need to use black actors in these big movies. We can just use our regular white actors, and they'll still come see it.
Oh,
it'll be negative too. Yeah.
Damn.
But either way, that is cool. Like I like I like that it was like, oh shit, like that's such a stupid idea to have, But yeah, that's
wild. Yeah, it's crazy. So it said that here in Newsweek is a quote from February 2nd, 1974. On December 26th, the movie called The Exorcist opened in theaters across the country, and since then, all hell has broken loose. And it's just kind of like something that we could, we could talk about, like as far as like how wild it was in the theaters, people throwing up. It was said that some theaters have been said to have provided Exorcist barf bags, so that people for throwing up, and how people there was like a couple quotes in here I should have wrote down, but I guess that there was actual like disorders that people were saying that were happening. There was actual like people. What was it? Where is it? Let me see real quick. The Exorcist is one of the rare horror movies that became part of the national conversation. It was a movie you needed to have an opinion about. 3 separate production histories were published. Journalists complained that coverage of the film and its controversies was distracting the public from the ongoing Watergate scandal. Much of the coverage, in fact, focused on the audience, which, in the later words of film historian William Paul, had become a spectacle equal to the film. He cites an Associated Press cartoon in which a couple trying to purchase tickets to the film was told, while the film itself is sold out, we're selling tickets to the lobby to watch the audience. Paul does not think any other film's audience has received as much coverage as The Exorcist. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I before I ever saw the movie, like I said, I had heard about how like it was a crazy ass like reaction from the audiences, and like people were saying, I mean, I doubt this is true, that ladies were having miscarriages from the movie, and like I was like, what the fuck? I was like
watch. Reports of strong audience reactions were widespread. Many included accounts of nausea and fainting. A woman in New York was said to have miscarried during a showing. Dude, you smart man. Some theaters have been said to have provided Exorcist barf bags. So that while there are no, Mad Magazine depicted one of the covers of its October 1974 issue, which contained a parody of the film. A reviewer for the Cinéma Fantastique said that there was so much vomit in the bathroom at the showing he attended that it was impossible to reach the sinks. Only other theaters arranged for ambulance to be on call. Some patrons had to be helped to leave the places they had hidden in theaters. Despite
this sounds like when we went to go see Showtech at the Palladium.
And then it looks like with the dudes with the fucking with the gloves.
Dude, I remember the bathroom at one point was closed because there was so much shit and throw up.
Oh, that place. I was thinking about the Hollywood Palladium. You mean the Cal's Palace?
No.
You mean in San Francisco?
Was that where that happened?
Yeah,
at Cal's
that was Cal's Palace. Yeah, that room was
yeah.
disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was gross.
That was Cal's Palace. What does it say? Despite its lack of any supernatural content, many audience members found the angiography, where blood spurts from the tube inserted into Reagan's neck, to be the film's most unsettling scene.
Oh, I honestly didn't like that part either. When she's getting the like procedure, I was like, this is kind of like, oh shit, like
yeah. So Friedkin said that he thinks that might be the most empathetic that you feel for Reagan in the movie, because she's not like possessed. You don't really feel bad for her, and in that part that he felt like it was a little bit you get more empathetic in that moment. And I heard something else about how like doctors and other things say that moment and how it looked, the special effect or whatever it was, that it's like one of the most realistic procedures ever in a film. That it's very realistic looking.
Crazy.
Yeah. And some people say that was the worst part of the film, the most disgusting, and what made people walk out, because back then they never showed nothing like that. So yeah, it's wild, bro. What's the last thing I have here? On August 2020, it was announced that a reboot of the film is in the works from Morgan Creek Entertainment and slated for release in 2021.
Okay. I'd be interested, especially if they do it well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, man. Have Billie Eilish come in. She might be too fucking old, bro. You need a little girl.
Bro, they get you should be curious, homie.
Oh my God, I'm down, bro.
And your dad could be Marin. That'd be dope.
Holy shit, dude. That'd be a vibe, bro.
So, dude, my favorite part in this whole movie. Wait, did you have anything else to say right now?
No, that's all my notes.
So, my favorite part in this whole movie, and it's probably just because I was high, me and Frankie were cracking up, is the part where he records her speaking in like tongues, and then he takes it to the dude to show him, and he's like, "Look, she's speaking in Latin or in different languages, tongues." And then the dude plays the sound back, and then after he's like, "She's not speaking in tongues; she's speaking English, just backwards." And then the priest is like, "Oh, like that's fucking normal." And dude, I was just cracking up because just the way the interaction goes feels like that. He's like, "She's not speaking tongues; she's speaking English, just backwards." Oh. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, dude, if somebody's speaking English backwards, I'd be like, well, how the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah.
You know, you can't even do that if you knew how to do it, you know? That's why I thought that part was hilarious. But the movie was great, though.
Yeah.
And I like at the end when he's punching her, too. I was like, oh, shit, he's getting it.
He's
I like
a boxer,
how mad
bro.
he gets.
He's a boxer.
Yeah.
He had to fight the
reminds me
devil.
of a scary movie, too, though. Because she says that in there, too, when she's like, your mother sucks cocks in hell. And he's like, what? And he gets all pissed.
Yeah. He starts squaring up with her. It's so funny how you're talking about how like your memory, like you're not too sure which movie is which. Like I feel like Scary Movie had a lot to do with the Exorcist still being like it might have helped. I don't know, whatever. It was a big film.
Nah,
big
dude, I Scary Movie, 1 and 2 still I remember so much from both of those fucking movies.
Oh my
Like,
God.
they really shaped my comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
And who I was.
Sure. That's so funny. Have you watched the new Borat?
No, I'm going to soon. I just haven't sat down to watch it.
You got to be high, bro. You got to be high.
Yeah.
If that.
Why?
Is
it funny though?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I mean, yes and no. It's funny like how Borat was funny. Borat was way funnier because it was like
the first one
more about like it being hitting camera shit, and this one is like it's definitely like that. But I don't know. We're not as young. So it's not as funny. That's why I say you got to be kind of stoned. But it's cool. It was enjoyable.
You know what movie you should check out, bro? You probably would like it, especially because like you do like this like the religious stuff, and this movie deals with it. It's actually a newer movie on Netflix. It's called The Devil All the Time. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
It's with Tom Holland, the dude who plays Spider-Man, the newest Spider-Man. You know Tom Holland, and then Robert Pattinson is like this priest, but it's all about like down south, like that old like revivalist type religion where they're like where they do speak in tongues and they get super into it, like really like deep religion. And it's an interesting movie because the way I took it was they were talking a lot of shit about religion and about how harmful it can be and how like it doesn't matter if you're Catholic, Christian, Muslim. Fanaticism is fanaticism at the end of the day. Like it doesn't matter what your religion is. You can be a Catholic or a Christian fanatic and be just as bad as a Islamic fanatic because of just your belief system and just the way it just shapes people. It's I think you'd like it though. It's a good movie.
Right.
It's kind of long though, but it's pretty good.
I think I have heard of that or seen it before.
Yeah, it just came out recently, bro. Oh, bro, you know what I know we're getting off topic, but we're going to have to do this, and it's probably going to drop soon. I'm hoping it's going to drop tonight. We got to do Man on the Moon 3, though.
Absolutely. It's dropping tonight?
No. Okay, he said soon this week. This week he tweeted that and said soon, and then he posted that little trailer. I'm just hoping tonight because it's Halloween, and I'm thinking Halloween weekend would be kind of a cool weekend to drop it, just because, not that it has anything to do with Halloween, but it's also, I don't know, I don't know, dude. I doubt it's going to come out tonight. But either way, when it comes out, we got to just drop whatever we're doing and do it just because.
I'm absolutely
dude, I remember listening to Wizard, and we pretty much did this on Wizard, just you and me in the car.
We did, bro. That was the first Mind Control.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Eminem album, too, we did, no? We did the same thing.
Oh, the re-up?
Was that what it was?
Yeah, remember we both downloaded on LimeWire at the same time, and then we called each other and listened to it track by track. Damn, those were the original Mind Controls.
Holy shit, we've been doing this. Doing it. What you were saying about religion would have been a good segue to our next episode. So everybody knows we're going to be doing this book here by Brian C. Murescu called The Immortality Key, which I don't think you can see because it's mirrored. But
I can see it. It looks good.
It's mirrored on my side. I don't know. Either way.
But
it talks about.
I'm hyped.
Yeah, as am I. It talks about the history of a secret religion that has to do with psychedelics, which is possibly connected to Christianity, which is possibly connected to a bunch of different things. It's a very complicated subject. I'm not really, ready to describe properly, but it connects the history of psychedelics to the history of religion and Christianity. And there is some wild things that this guy discovered. And I've listened to the podcast with him and Joe Rogan twice now, and each time I learn more, and I'm really even more so excited to read the book. The book, you don't have to be all into history and all this other shit, according to the author. You pick it up and he tells the story, from the beginning to the end, as far as what he did and what he learned and what he wants to learn. So it's a very easy.
Yeah, I've only read the first 20 pages yesterday, and I was already oh shit, I'm excited to really get into this. Yeah, it seems like it'll be really interesting. I'll probably watch the podcast, listen to the podcast after I read it. But dude, yeah, it seemed interesting. I sent you that quote. I love the beginning quote. And if you die before you die, then you don't have to die when you die. And I was like, dude, it says a lot about, I feel like, what it's going to get into. And yeah, I'm excited for that, Yeah. And I've always thought that psychedelics, I think we've talked about it before, played a big role in the development of every religion,
It's all Western. It's all Western civilization. It all came from from Spain, which came from Greece. And people we don't understand even our history. And then Greece came from the ancient Egyptians. So it's it legitimately breaks down history and follows history back to the earliest civilizations of Egyptians and Egyptologists and all this other shit. And it kind of breaks down how the religion legitimately got lost and was more than likely actually hidden purposely by the Christian church, by the Roman Christians after, in 200 AD or some shit like that. Like I said, I'm fucking retarded. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but yeah.
So we got to get into it. Yeah, for sure. So, I'm definitely excited to get into that one. And what day is that going to be on?
I don't know. Let's give it some time on that one. Let's do it. Well, we'll call it sometime in November. Just so everyone knows, probably mid-November. So because it's a thick book, and that way we get some time to really go into it. And then who knows if Kid Cudi drops, we got some time.
Hey, bro. Oof, I'm fucking excited for that. I was like, oh shit. Just because, dude, like, I also want to do one on Speeding Bullet to Heaven one day. Because the album didn't get a lot of attention, and lately, like, I think I don't know if I told you, but like when I was going through it, I got back into that album, which I never really got fully into. And there's like, that shit is actually, I think, might be his best album besides Man on the Moon 1 and 2. Like, it might be Speeding Bullet to Heaven, just because it's pretty intense. And I think
Isn't that the rock album? Isn't that like his Kurt Cobain?
Like Nirvana type shit.
Oh
Yeah. I think it got lost under it. Dude, I did the first time, I thought it was terrible, and then I never listened to it. And I did a couple times and I thought it was horrible. And then one time I was like super depressed and I put it on. And I was like, dude, this is what he wrote it for. He wrote it for like when you're going through it. Like when you're looking at the rope, this is what it's for. You know what I mean? Like it's a great album, you know? It's very introspective and honest is what I realized when I went back. I was like, I feel like that's why people were turned off by it. I think like we talked about it, like sometimes when you see a movie where things are too realistic, it's hard to watch, and you almost, not that you don't like it, but you just don't really want to watch it. And I feel like that's how that album is. It's almost too honest, where sometimes it's like, fuck, like
it's probably like
so right now.
Is it? It's also like very like I don't know. From what I remember, it was very like hard, not very digestible musically.
Oh yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah, it's all over the fucking place. So but it's great.
And which is probably what turns people off from taking it seriously. But you probably have to take it very seriously to really.
Well, dude, I remember one thing that made me want to revisit is I remember Andre 3000 had said that was his favorite album of the year, and I was like, what is he talking about? And then eventually, I finally went back and listened to it, and now that I've listened to it a lot, I'm like, oh shit, I can totally see what he was saying. Like, I think it just got lost because we all expected something from Kid Cudi, and he was doing something different than anybody wanted, you know. Which is kind of cool too. Fuck everybody.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But, we got off topic, but Exorcist, Paimon, I love it. Mother sucks in hell.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna pick.
She calls them too. I should have said that, but I just like that. Like, I like how fucking crazy it is. You know, like it's very like if the devil was in somebody, he isn't gonna be saying some half crazy shit. It's gonna be like full batshit, wild shit that he was saying. Exactly. I loved it.
Exactly. That's what makes the whole movie so good. Is that it's like it doesn't seem like they tried to hold anything back. If anything, at all, they had nothing.
Yeah, and it like takes a minute to get there, but then once it gets there, it goes there, which I was like fucking cool. You know, it like some movies you wait. And then when it gets there, it's not as intense as you want it to be. But I like that you wait in the beginning for it to happen. And then once it actually gets to the possession and the exorcism, it really does get as intense as you would want it to be, you know?
Yeah.
So hopefully if they do a remake, it'll be fucking crazy too.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Everybody, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. This is Mind Control. I am Mikey, and that guy is Corey, even though he doesn't look like him. He's the new improved version of Corey. And
2.0.
That's right, baby. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.